Nate's not there. Hello and welcome to Dukes United show. I'm Garth, and today we're talking about the case for Antony Martial. And here he is, the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, Nathan the Duke Ennington. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right. It's going to be an interesting one, obviously, because there's been a lot of debate with this guy. So, let's get into it. Let's get right into it.
So I'm going to throw the floor straight over to you. You know, recently my opinion on Martial's gone downhill quite a bit. I personally don't see a future for him in this team, but you're coming with some strong facts and figures to disprove that. So straight over to you. There's your opinions first of all about Martial, the player himself. Let's take it started there.
Well, for me, obviously, I can see a player in him. I can see top class attributes that he's got. When he first came, he was likened to Thierry Henry. I could see the type of dribbling kind of player he is at high pace. I could see that. And in terms of cutting in and getting that first goal against Liverpool was unbelievable. Dribble past them all, ripped it bottom corner. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Let's see if there's more to come. So from seeing what I know he can do, and over the years, obviously, we've been ups and downs as a club, as a team, playing left side, playing up front. You've seen all of that, but the main thing is the kind of quality that I want to see in a United forward. He's got the attributes. That's definitely there. The other thing is it's been a stop-start for many different reasons. It's been injury in, injury out. It's been playing well, then getting taken out. It's been having a great season and then having a bad season. So he's pretty much experienced everything that United have had, and to everything at United, I should say. And but I still think there is a future for him. There still is. This window is getting smaller and smaller, but there's this season is on his side, and I think he's got this season to do the job. Same as Rashford. They've both got this season to do the job, but today we talk about Martial. So I think he's a top talent. He has world-class attributes, but again, it needs to be done for a longer period of time. But I believe he can do it. That's the difference. He can.
All right. So for me, just to take the attributes first of all, I don't believe he has world-class attributes apart from maybe dribbling. I'll go as far as that. But so when you're talking about his world-class attributes, what are we actually going on here? What attributes do you see that are world-class in him?
I think his finishing is top-notch. His shots to goals ratio better than any player. Salah, Kane, all of them. Aubameyang, I remember looking at it all in other seasons. I remember when we was playing that season where we were called Moments FC for a reason, because we didn't create chances for any of our players. And we didn't want a Harry Kane in our side because Harry Kane is a player that relies on chances. But the main thing was anytime Martial got a chance and it was in front of goal, it was a goal. His finishing is top-notch. That's what I know. His runs are top-notch, but what he is not good at, what it is that makes him, what sometimes people think, it's his work rate off the ball, lost causes. That's what he doesn't have. But the world-class side, answer to your question, I think the finishing is definitely there. And the speed that he's at, when people I've played, I know, who've spoken about playing against him, he runs at such crazy speed, and the close control, his foot control is ridiculous. That is top-notch. You can't really get a lot better than that kind of touch, that kind of dribble, and that kind of finishing. So for a forward, they're the main things you really need as a striker. Heading, not so great, but them things, top-notch.
So fair enough. Like you say, the shots to goals ratio, which obviously that's a stat that is very important when it comes to a striker. But I'd also take the stats of his goal scoring record in recent years has been very poor. Very, very, very poor. So that to me suggests he's not getting into the areas that a striker should get into to put them goals, to actually put it in the onion bag. And this is where I get into I don't see him ever be like, for me now at 27, I don't think he's ever going to fulfill the potential that we saw when he first joined in 2015. Like you said, when he first joined, I thought he was going to be one of the most magnificent players the world had ever seen. For me, he amazed me with his skills and so on and so forth. For me, though, his mentality has gone out the window in the last few years. And I'm sure there are some reasons you're going to come up with injuries and so on and so forth, but I like to see strong mentality in players. And for me, it's time that he moves on. I think we sell him, recoup some money and reinvest elsewhere. But I can see where you're coming from with his close control. That's what I meant at dribbling. Like his dribbling close control, 100% is awesome. There's no two ways about that. But as an out-and-out striker for Manchester United now, I think we need much, much better. And there always seems to be an excuse with Martial as to why he's not playing very well. So we'll go to Jules right here on this one in the comments immediately. This is one of the excuses I hear a lot. The signing of Alexis Sanchez didn't help Martial. Now, do you agree with this?
Yeah, of course, because at that time, obviously, he was player of the month. He just got player of the month that month because he was killing it for us. And Alexi came in and he was back. He just sat on the bench for the rest of the season. So for someone to have had a player of the month and then not be playing no more for the rest of the season, it kills. And I've been through it myself. I was at Derby. I was top scorer halfway through the season. I had 9 goals. New manager came in. Paul got sacked. Nigel Clough came in. And I didn't play another game. And nobody remembered me. Nobody cared. Next season, my agent was trying to find me a club. Now he hasn't scored for half a year. I'm like, because I haven't played for half a year. But when I looked in training, when the coach was talking to me in training, he was telling me, wow, you're unbelievable. I'm going to tell the coach again how good you were. But he was basically telling me it's not your ability that's not getting you in the side. It's because they've made their decision that they're going to get me out because I was the top paid and I was on loan. And they needed that money to get other players. So certain things happen in games, in clubs, that I kind of I feel a little bit different to, if you get what I mean. I kind of look into the reasons, I kind of look into the day-to-day what's going on, or what's going on in the side. And I believe that there was a reason why, obviously, he didn't get... Imagine he continued for the rest of that season and played that same amount of games and continued the way he was. Everyone will be loving him. But he didn't. So I understand where you're coming from when you look at it and look back and go, well, he hasn't done enough. He had a little purple patch, but that's it. So it's one of them ones. It's tough to look at it like that when you're coming from my point of view, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, you like you say, one player the month before we signed Alexis Sanchez, and that's fair enough. And you've taken apart my point for me already, which is that little purple patch. But in the 2 seasons before we signed Alexis Sanchez, I haven't got assists. I know you have, so you have to give me assists. It's 87 games, 19 goals. That is not acceptable in Manchester United. And Alexis Sanchez scored 30 the year before. There's no way that anyone at the time wouldn't be saying, get Martial out, get Sanchez in. And then it's down to the player, in my opinion, to get back up to speed and take that position. But do you not stand with that?
No. I agree with the fact that Alexis Sanchez is a great player and he was doing bits for Arsenal for years. So him to come in on the left was a great option. But that meant Martial, who had been put out to the left after he played, he started playing up front. He was playing up front. Ibrahimovic came. So he lost his position up front. Then he lost his position on the left. And that's where he had his purple patch, by the way, as a left-sided player. So coming in, I was thinking, I want to see Alexi anyway, because he's a top player, but he's not going to fit our system. Remember, it was a total different system to what he's playing. He plays tiki-taka, and we don't. So it was a killer for him coming in, and he was, I knew it wasn't going to work in the end, because I seen him buzzing around everywhere, and we're just not passing him the ball. We're all slow and trying to do things slow in our way. So he got dragged into our football, rather than him dragging us up to his way of football. So that's beside the point. The main thing is you mentioned there is the goals to games. So the way I've always looked at goals to games is a little bit different. I'm going to break it down season by season, and then we'll look at it properly, because when I was playing, I look at my stats and I'm like, I always looked at my goals to games ratio. I was starts to games ratio, the starts to goals, because coming on off the bench, you got 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. So then I thought, okay, I can't really discount them as appearances, but what I can do is I can count up the actual minutes and see what they are. Let's just make them all together into a 90 minutes. Break down all the minutes into how many 90 minutes you played. Then we'll understand what's your goals to games ratio. So goals to games, you talk about goals and assists, goal contributions. He's actually done pretty well. When you look at it, let's go back to 15-16 season. He played 56 games altogether. He was involved in 56 games. Scored 18 goals. This is his first season. 18 goals, 11 assists. And really, that's 51 full games, 90 minutes, if you look at the minutes that he played. And 28 of them games was up front. He played on the left the rest of them games. So that's a good record for me on the left side for most of them games, or let's say half of them games he played on the left up front. 18 goals, 11 assists. That's like what, 29 goal contributions in 51 full 90-minute games. I can't doubt.
No, yeah. His first season was also. But before we get into the next season, let me just ask you this quickly. Yeah, before you get into the next season, just quickly, do you see him centre forward or left wing as his best position? Just like off the top, and then we'll move into the next season.
Yeah, so when I first saw him, I thought he was a left-sided player. So that's what I thought he was the whole time. Until Solskjaer put him up front, and I was like, oh, he's going to play up front. Can he play up front, really? So that's what my thought was. And then I wanted to see how he does up front, because we needed a striker. So then when he had that great season, obviously thought, oh, okay, he can play up front. So that was a thing where, that's the kind of thought I had. So I had one thought at the beginning, then it moves to a striker. We'll see in a minute. Yeah, in a minute. But yeah, so just there's a few comments there as well. So
yeah.
Have a look in the comments. So we've got Dick Emery saying confidence played a massive part though as well. Go on, Garth. You can talk us through the comments.
Oh no. Sorry. I've just someone's come through the door. No. I was going to ask you this question as well. Once we got confidence, I believe does play a massive part in Martial's game, and this is why I find him not to be world class, because his confidence always seems to be that. Like his confidence requires a team around him that's playing well. But that's different. It was this one, particularly from Mary, that I was very interested in. This is my point. There's no doubt in his ability, but the consistency isn't quite enough. But I think you're about to show that maybe he's more consistent than we actually think he is. And finally, Callum. Let's just bring Callum up quickly, mate. As far as I remember, all my Arsenal mates were devastated when they lost Sanchez. Like, I keep hearing this now in this retrospect that Arsenal couldn't wait to get rid of Sanchez. That's nonsense, mate. That's absolutely, as I remember it anyway. But sorry, anyway, back to the consistent. Yeah, no, we swapped him with Mkhitaryan, didn't we? It wasn't a free. Yeah.
But they got rid of him at the perfect time where he was just declining, and we got him at the worst time, to be fair. And you couldn't see it coming, but he was a man, by the way. He was a player.
Henrik, anyway, definitely. Consistency. I think you're about to prove that maybe there's a bit of a myth surrounding Martial's consistency when it comes to actual overall play here. So,
yeah. So when you look at the next season, so the following season he plays. So before that, let me just read a little bit about what we've seen with him. So it says Martial finished the 15-16 season, which I just spoke about, as United's top scorer with 17 goals and 8 assists. Well, it says, I think it's 18 goals here. But anyway, 49 appearances. That included a dramatic injury time winner against Everton in the FA Cup semi-finals, if you remember. And then which led to him earning the winner's medal following the 2-1 win against Palace, if you remember that. 2016-17 season, which I'm talking about now, was first season under Jose Mourinho, where he got 8 goals. So this is the season we're talking about now, where he was pushed out to the left side more. So he played up front 28 of those games in the first season, but let's take a look at the second season now. He played 42 games, scored 8 and assisted 8. So that's 16 goal contributions in 42 games. But he actually played 28 full games in that season. So if you looked at 90 minutes, you crunched it into 90 minutes, that worked out as 28 games and 16 goal contributions altogether. It's not the worst. And 7 of those was up front. 7 of those games. So he didn't really play up front that much. Played off the wing. And as you can see, it's not that bad if you look at it from where he played. I can't see it as that bad. It's not prolific, but again, he's not playing up front the whole time. He's being left and then central. And central.
It's not that bad if you skew the stats to say that he only played 28 games because he only got that many in the 90 minutes.
Did he or didn't?
But he played 42 games. He played 40. He had 42 games, and it's like, I know where you're coming from on this minutes, 90 minutes. But yeah, I think that's a little unfair to be like, oh, he only actually got 28 full games. There's 42 games. Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but he's still got 48 games in the season. But yeah, it isn't horrific. Even 42 games, 16 goal contributions isn't horrific. So that's fair enough. You know what I mean?
But here's my point. I played for Bristol Rovers. My first season, I started 4 games. I was on the bench coming on for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Am I going to count them as games? Really? You're going to say my goals to games is 50 games, 4 goals. It wasn't. It was 10 starts, 4 goals. The rest was sub appearances. I'm not going to use that as my minutes. If you do want to be real, let's do 90 minutes, count all of them little 1 minutes and 2 minutes when you don't touch the ball. Look at some people's stats. You can't really go, that's your stats, because that's just not fair. I say fair is counting all their minutes and go 90 minutes then. That's the most fair you can get. Instead of just saying, don't count the sub appearances, because that's not fair either. But if you're saying full 90, let's go with that. I don't think I'm skewing it. I'm being exactly to the point. That's the amount of 90 minutes he played.
The way I say it's skewed is because what you're going on is you're saying that, he's only coming for 5 minutes here. Do we know that? Or is he getting 45 minutes a game? You know what I mean? 45 minutes a game.
Because 5 minutes.
No, but what you're saying is it's not fair saying that he hasn't scored in a game if he's only played 5 minutes. What I'm saying is, do we know it was only 5 minutes? Like, it can't have been just them sort of appearances. There's also a lot where he's played half of a game. And then but I know you can't. It's a good way to put it. I don't disagree with you, and that it is fair.
If you look at it, if he played 42 games and only played 2,515 minutes, it works out to 28 games. So it must have been a lot of the time he didn't play much. Like, it must have been. It's like half the time. So again, my point is this. Anyway, that's the way you can look at goals to games. Yeah. That's the ratio. That's how you get the ratio of goals to games anyway. So there's no other way of doing it, to be fair. But so when you look at it, I'm just reading from what I read as well before we go into the next season. Following Romelu Lukaku's move to Inter Milan, he switched back to the number 9 jersey and quickly got off the mark for 2019 and 20 season, with the second goal in a 4-0 win against Chelsea at Old Trafford, giving the early indication he will thrive on the responsibility of playing up front. That's when he changed, remember. And the Frenchman ended 2019-20 season as the top scorer with 23 goals, with 17 in the Premiership, his highest tally, and he set up 12 goals, which made him the first striker to receive the Player of the Year award since Wayne Rooney in 2009-10. So if we take a look at that stats now, where are we at? We're at 17-18 right now, aren't we? We're not even at the other one. So let's go through 17. Bloody hell, that's years ahead. Let's not get there that quick. 45 games, 11 goals, 9 assists. So that's what, 20 goal contributions in 45 games. And 12 games of that. So if you look at the numbers, it's 26 games. If you look at it in 90 minutes, you can say 45 or 26, whatever you agree with. 12 of them games were played up front. Just 12. So he's had 20 goal contributions. Not too bad in my eyes. I think that's okay. Do you want me to go through them all and then we can talk afterwards, or should we do that?
I think we're all right again. I mean, I was just going to say again, like, I think I've just seen another consistency one here. We'll get on to injuries in a minute, Benny, but I think at the moment the consistency that we're talking about is actually there. We just
we'll go
if we talk about the stats properly, it looks like consistency is there for me. 20, even if you class it as 42, 45 games in the season, 20 goal contributions in 45 games is decent, very good in the Premier League. Like, that's very good. So,
following season, 38 games, 12 goals, 3 assists, and it works out to be around 26 games overall, and 11 of those games were played up front. So he's got 12, he's got 15 goal contributions in 40 games, if you want to look at it like that, or you can say 26 games, full games of 90 minutes. If he played every minute and it was 26 games, he'd probably have that result. So, well, he definitely had that result. That is his result. So, then this is the season where he got top scorer all overall. 48 games, 23 goals, 12 assists. That's 35 goal contributions in 48 games, and he started. Well, if you look at 90-minute games, 39 of them. That's the absolute blitz season. That's his best season where he played all the time. But as you notice, he's playing a lot of games. 56, 42, 45, 38, 48. That's every game. So to say injury prone, I don't really go with that. But then you go for the 2021 season, 36 games, 7 goals, 9 assists. 26 of them games were up front. So he played most of the time up front. But it counts as around about 27 games if you're looking at 90 minutes. So he's got 16 goal contributions in 36, if you say. Not the worst. The worst was last season, where he's saying that he played injured. He was being told to play injured. So really look at it. 23 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. But when you look at it, he didn't play 23 full games. He actually started 11. He only played 11 full games, and 11 of them was up front. So he played up front all the games, but he was injured. And we had the worst team on earth. So really, the way I see it, I can see there's a player there. And all of these things that we know, the amount of transition we've gone through, players like Pogba couldn't do nothing. Martial actually did do something all them times. And when the conditions were pretty good, he done amazing. He done amazing. And he wasn't really, if you look at that, it's a lot of games a season. A lot of games every season. Even just last season, he didn't play that many games, 23 and 11 altogether. Everything else, I'm having that. I'm not saying I don't think he's injury prone. A big knee rupture as well, ruptured knee ligament in the 1920 season, is a reason why you're going to be out for a long time there. That's massive. And he's really had just little normal injuries that every player would get, like a thigh strain, a groin strain, and a hamstring strain. So there's nothing really that really sticks out to me and say you're an Eric Bailly, if you get what I mean. So,
no, I think it's been more recently, Nath. I think recently, the last few years, a lot of niggles have been stopping him from playing, and it feels to a lot of people like it's just he can't be bothered to play, which is not harsh. I understand, but that is
I felt that feeling as well. I did. I can't lie.
So, and when I get into more of my points about Martial, that his stats, do you know what? I'm going to have to take back because I didn't realise with the assists, with the goal contributions put together, he's actually been a far more consistent player than I realised, to be fair. Especially if you're taking it into account the way you're taking it into account, which is actual 90 minutes played, he's actually a very consistent player if you take it like that. So I think that's fair to say. I think that's very fair to say. The last 2 seasons have been horrific. There's no two ways about it. They have been. But before then, Callum is saying that the players around the time Martial lost his form wasn't helping him, in his opinion. I have to agree as well. The whole team was rubbish for the last couple of years. Let's be fair about it. But Jules, this is where we're getting into my points here. Things like this is what doesn't ingratiate you to the fan base. He does need to stop talking to the press and concentrate on his game. He does need to stop doing things like refusing to play, whatever happened there. But we're under Ralph Rangnick. The Ralph Rangnick coming out saying he literally refused to play, whinging about injuries, throwing Gunnar Solskjaer and Rangnick under the bus in an interview. These sort of things definitely need to stop because it must affect your game. I don't know. As a pro, Nath, if you had a player in the dressing room who's every time he's away from the camp is throwing not the players under the bus, but the team under the bus, making excuses for his form, would that bother you at all, or it wouldn't matter? It's another player; it doesn't really matter.
No, I do know that obviously when I've been playing, different players have different issues with the manager, different issues with the coach, different issues with the club, issues with the club themselves. So I've had issues. I've had major issues where players can't tell me nothing. If I say I'm not playing, they're not going to tell me nothing because my issue with them, they're messing with my career. So if you think about it, when I was at West Brom, they messed with my career. They said I couldn't go nowhere. They told me I weren't going nowhere, first of all. Next season, Wigan came back in for me. They told me I could go, but I ain't letting you go to the end of the month. How does that feel in my mind when I'm speaking to my manager? My manager says to me, obviously we got onto, can I go? Yes, I can. Right. Listen, I tell my agent to tell my manager, listen, I can go, but they're just going to hold out to the end of the month. So then he killed my Premiership move, killed it, because every day I kept coming in, knocking on the chairman's door. Listen, just let me go. Like, what are you doing? My agent talking to the Paul Jewell every day. Listen, he is going to come. He is going to come. Gets to halfway through the window, and guess what happens? He says, I can't take you no more. I can't take the chance that the end of the month comes and they say no. So then he goes, I'm going to have to go. And there's me like, please, no. So every day I was going in. Last minute, last couple of days, I said, hey, can you let me go? He goes, go and tell them you can go. I was like, where the hell's my phone? Where's my phone? Paul Jewell. Listen, I can come. And he goes, sorry, Nath, we've got Julius Agahawa at the moment, and we're waiting on his work permit to come through. If it comes through, sorry, nothing we can do. We did try. We did want to get you back. That was my golden ticket back to the Prem. and it got smashed because the chairman wanted to mess about for a month and sell me for the same money that I came for in the end anyway. So what do you think I want to do now? How do you think I want to be? What's the player going to say to me now? So it's just a little story that people have these things. They want to offer me a new deal. I don't want a new deal. I just want to leave. Just let me go back to the Prem. You didn't even play me when I was in the Prem. Can I please go? It's like you bought me. I said to them, it's like you bought me so then you can relegate Wigan. And it's backfired because Wigan are strong. And you've bought me to, you think that you took the best striker, you know, one of the best strikers out of the side, so then they could get relegated. They didn't. They were too strong. And then we get relegated. And then you didn't even really play me because you had 6 different strikers. Why didn't you tell me that at the beginning? Then I wouldn't have come if I wasn't going to play.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there, not playing. I played, 16 games, 6 goals in the Prem, 16 in 6. Not good enough, but it's still top scorer in the club.
Well, it's pretty decent. Yeah, that's decent, mate. That's decent for a lower end team in the Premier League, mate. Let's be fair about it, even today's standards. So you're sympathising with him. You can sympathise with his position, obviously, is what you're saying here. Yeah,
but look at what happens now. Who remembers me as a Premiership striker who's going to play for years? Nobody, because I wasn't playing anymore. But you got friends of mine, Darren Bent, loads of players that came up with the same time. Robert Earnshaw, they had quite a few seasons in the Prem, scored all the time. That's where I was feeling that I should have been. But it never happened, and people can say, he wasn't that good. It's the same thing with Martial. He comes in, circumstances make a difference, and that's my point. He's had a circumstance. It's not, you can't always make excuses, I know. But
no, it's not excuses. Sorry, go on. I was going to say, is it not different? You're coming in from it like it's your dream to play in the Premier League. Like Martial's already there. He's at Man United. He's at the biggest club in the world. You know what I mean? Is there a slight difference there? You know what I mean? Like, because I have to agree. I have to agree with where was it? With Larry 412 here. I think it's not how he's feeling. I can sympathise. After you just explained it, Dave, I can very much sympathise with the man himself. But it's this. I don't maybe agree that they should be dropped, but there should definitely be some sort of punishment if you're speaking to the press without permission, especially if you're bringing the club into disrepute, like Martial has done. You know what I mean? But that doesn't. Yeah. That doesn't affect.
What did he say to the press? What did he say to the press without permission? What did he say to them? I'm just trying to remember what he actually said.
Recently, it was all about the injury stuff and how Solskjaer done him wrong, how Ragnick done him wrong. You know what I mean? I haven't got the entire quotes here, but it's more fuel on the fire of people looking outside into Man United that we're a shambles, you know what I mean? But again,
here's the question though. Mm-hmm. Did somebody interview him and I just ask him a question about last season and then he answered it? Or did he make his own interview up and say, I want to talk about this? So
we'll never know, will we?
But here's the thing. If somebody speaks to you, go, listen, I want to interview with you. Right. So last season, talk to me about your time when you was not playing well. Like what, why do you feel like you had such a bad season? Well, last year I was playing. I was told I was injured. I couldn't run, and my manager wanted me to play. So I decided I'm going to try and do what I can for the team, even though I can't run. And then I got thrown on the bus because nobody said I was injured. So people like me and you, we were like, get rid of Martial, man. It's time for him to get out of here. He can't even bother running. He ain't even running. Look at him. Why is he not working hard? I've had enough of this guy. He's so good, but that's me. I had given up on him. I said, forget this guy.
Yes, I do.
Me and you were saying the same thing.
Yeah.
What the hell are we seeing here? Why is he not running? And lo and behold, he was injured, playing injured.
And let's be fair about it, the whole team was awful. Yeah, I come back to it's still, you don't throw everyone under. You don't throw. You're more tactful. You'd be more tactful in your interviews. Is where it comes. I'm taking it from a.
That's why he's waiting. Don't you think? He's waited till Solskjaer's gone, then say what he's saying. He didn't say it while he was there because he was waiting.
I find that even more disrespectful, mate, because you're not giving the chances for Ragnick and Solskjaer to defend himself. To be quite honest with you, but that's just a personal point of view, and it doesn't affect his performances on the pitch. We're just talking about the man himself here. You know, I mean, quickly with Jules here. I mean, the reason Sanchez kept playing was because we were trying to play him into form. That was it. You know what I mean? And to be fair, Jose didn't have the best relationship with Martial either. And you know what Jose Mourinho's like. If he don't like you, you're done, ain't you? Yeah, you're dashed. Exactly, mate. Yeah, you're dashed. And so now I'll get into the final bits of this conversation because this is what I'm thinking about is going forward. You see him
Yeah.
do you see him as our main striker going forward? Do you see him as the best option we've got in the team at the moment in the system we play? Obviously,
100%.
Ronaldo's the best player there before anyone says it, but he doesn't work in this system. So, yeah, sorry, going forward, do you see him as our main man?
Yeah, he's not Ronaldo ain't the best player anymore in this team because what he can bring to the side is not what Martial can bring anymore. When they're both playing at their best. Martial is hands down better than him now at this point in time of his career. But yeah, if Martial stays fit and he can play, he's gonna play the way he played because the team play football. They're popping the ball around. They're moving the ball. Eriksen's going to find him. Bruno's going to find. He's going to do what he does because he's got dribble ability. He's got finishing ability. You give him the ball, he's going to score. You don't give him the ball, he doesn't score. That's normal. So for me, definitely can be the main man up front and can get 20 plus goals in the season because he's already done it in the past. All he has to do is stay fit, and he's now playing with a team that can play ball. So he's going to be better. Same as Rashford. When he was out on the left or up front, he is better now because the team is better. They're creating chances now. Rather than before, it was go and create your own stuff, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood. Go do your own thing. But now we don't need to do that because we've got Eriksen and Bruno and Malacia and Martinez. All them players can find players through the lines. And Casemiro, as we know, he hasn't even done it yet. But when he comes in, he'll be able to do the same thing. Martial will thrive on that. That's what you need as a forward. Like, just going back to myself, playing at Wigan, I had everything I needed because Jason Roberts knew what I needed. Get the ball anywhere outside the box, it's a goal. Put the ball in the box with crossing, I'll score headers for fun. I went to West Brom now. It's different. I scored different types of goals.